Welcome back YouTube. My name is Dennis Panuta for tutorials.eu. In this video we are going to check out if conditions, and they are super useful and a very important basic concept of any programming language. So let's go ahead and start with it. I'm going to create a variable that I'm going to set to 15, and then I'm going to use an if statement. And in order to create an if statement, you can go ahead and use the if term, and then afterwards you can write the condition. So in my case, I'm going to check if n is lower than 18. And if it's lower than 18, then I want to execute some code. So you see, I'm using a colon and I'm writing something now. So I'm going to write the code in here that I want to execute if this condition here is met. So if n is lower than 18, then please print something. And it's important that this print statement is indented by a tab, because if it is not, then Python will not understand what's going on. So whenever you use or you want to run some code within an if statement, if the condition is met, you need to indent it. All right, so in this case, I'm going to say something like you may not vote, because if somebody is younger than 18, he's not allowed to vote. So let's execute that code. And as you can see, this statement is written onto the console. So this condition here is met because n is just 15. That's why the statement is executed here. So if somebody, let's say, is 19 years old, now let's execute the code again. And as you can see, nothing is printed onto the console. And that is because n is higher than 18. And that's why this condition is not met. So this code is never executed. Now let's add another code in here, another line. I am not indented. So as you can see, I'm not indented is printed onto the console. Why is that? Well, because this line of code is not indented. That's why it's not considered part of this if statement. So it's not considered as the body of this if statement, which means that it's not it's executed in this case because, well, this condition is not met, right? So if I do it like that, I can execute it. As you can see, it's still executed. But if I indent that print statement and execute it now, it's not printed onto the console because it thinks, or in this case, it is part of that if statement. So I'm gonna get the indentation lost, or I'm gonna delete the indentation. So I'm gonna indent only this print statement here, you may not vote. All right, so what if I want to have a statement for all the other cases? So if somebody doesn't meet this condition, then I want to write some other code. And that's why you have this if else. So if and else. If is the first request, and if that's not met, you can simply execute the code which comes after else. So let's check out how this looks. I'm going to create another variable. I'm just going to set that to 10. And then I'm going to check if m is lower than 5. Then print, very simple, m is lower than 5. But then on the other hand, else, just print something like m is higher than 5. Or you could even write something like if condition,
hey, don't forget to subscribe and like the video,
is not met. So let's run that code. And as you can see, I get this statement here, if condition is not met. And that's because m is 10. So m lower 5 is not true. So this condition here that we have is not true. That means it just skips this line of code and directly jumps to the else part of this if else statement. So it executes the code within the else statement. If we add a line here to our if n below 18, you may not vote. If you want to extend that, we simply add else colon, and then in the next line indented, we write whatever we want to write. Please go and vote. So now let's execute that code again. And as you can see, it says, please go and vote here on my console. And that is pretty much if and else. So we will use if and else statements quite a lot, and you will also see how to use elif, which can cover multiple other cases in between, but that's something for later. For now, we're good to go for the next video where we'll check out comparison operators. And this is a comparison operator right here, with this sign here. So lower than is a comparison operator, and we need to check out all the comparison operators in order to understand if statements even better and use it accordingly in the future. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please leave a like. And if you have any questions or suggestions, then leave a comment. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. And by the way, if you really love the content and you would like to have more of it, or pretty much all of it, then of course, check out the link in the description to my whole course. See you in the next video.
We'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to